I don't want to work for 40 years to be rich. I was told a lot of lies as a kid growing up about money. All you have to do to get rich is work hard, save a lot of money, don't spend anything, you don't get a nice house, you don't get a nice car. We went on one real vacation my entire life growing up, a whole 18 years. But after I do all of this, somewhere around 30 years into saving, this thing called compound interest is going to take over. And it's going to balloon my savings out of control. And by the time I retire at 65, I'm going to finally have maybe $4 million in a bank account that I can call my own. And I could stop working for somebody else. I can stop realizing I only have 2 days a week for myself. And every other day, I have to go make somebody else money and make them rich. That's not the kind of life I want to live. I want to be rich now. I want to make money now. I want to have freedom now. And that's what I want. You know, my parents, I love them so much, but that's where I learned everything as a kid about money. And my parents are broke. Right now, I make more money than them. I have more money than them at 25. And that's not to brag, but these are the kind of people I learn about money from, and you probably learned the same thing. So for 22 years, I was messed up. I didn't know how to make money. I thought the only way was to get a job and work 40 years and then don't spend any money on credit cards and don't do that. I don't want that. I don't want that for you either. I'm going to teach you what my mentors have taught me in the last year that has allowed me to go from making $56,000 at a college year job I hated to now $250,000 a year in income, and by the end of the year, hopefully $600,000-$700,000 in income a year. Sadly, they can't come on here and teach you these things, but I don't want you to think that the stuff your parents taught you as a kid is actually going to teach you how to make money. And I'm not talking about being a millionaire. I want to be a decamillionaire. I want to be worth 8 figures in 10 years. Be worth $10 million in 10 years because I don't want to be the millionaire who worked 40 years to get his money. He's got $1 million in net worth. He's got $1 million in his 401k, but he's still so worried about money. What happens if he lives 10 years longer than he expects to? Is his money going to run out for his retirement? What happens if my wife gets cancer? Am I going to have to choose between paying for her expenses and living the next 10 years of my life during retirement well? What happens if one of my kids gets in a bad car accident? Do I have to choose between a good retirement and helping them out? No, I don't want to do that. I want to be worth some real money, not some guy with $1 million in the bank at 65. Okay? I want to be able to do some crazy things and change some people's lives with the money. You know, making $56,000 a year at my old job, sure, I could send $100 a week to Africa to help drill wells for poor people. But that's all the lives that can change. At $10 million, they call it FU money, because when you have that kind of money, you could say FU to anything you don't want to do. Don't want to do that? FU. I got the money to do something else. I can change my life, all my friends' life, everybody I know I can impact in a good way. I can't do that on $56K a year at a job that I hate. So the first thing that my mentors taught, and I wish they were here today to tell you all this, was that they looked me in the eyes and said, Adam, you are never going to get rich at $56,000 a year. You are not. You need to figure out how to make more money to get somewhere in life. Sure, $56K, starting in this business today, within 6 years, you're going to be making $100,000 a year at this company. You're going to be doing it as a single guy, paying only $1,500 a month for rent. You're going to be doing well. But I still will have to work for 30, 40, 50 years of this company in order to have enough money in the bank to be bringing in enough income from that money where I do not have to go back to that job, where I don't have to spend my Sunday night worrying about how crappy Monday morning is going to be when I get in and have to deal with the 50 emails from the weekend. I don't want that. So he said, you're going to have to start your own business, Adam, or figure out a job where you can make good money. At my old job, I went up to not my boss, but my boss's boss's boss. This guy making at least $250,000 a year. And I asked him, so if I come up with a plan to save this company $1 million a year in savings, because I worked on a machine making paper. The machine's $1 billion machine. I said, if I can do this for you, will I be getting a raise? What kind of raise will I get? Will I get a part of that? He looked me in the eyes, spent 5 minutes evading the question, and essentially came down to the point where it doesn't matter if I save this company $1 million a year. I'm only going to get a pat on the back and maybe an extra 1% a year raise that year. That's the point I knew I needed to get the hell out of this business and get something real. So I spent 30 hours every single week after my job working on my business, my Amazon business. I sell products on Amazon and make money doing it. I worked on this YouTube channel and building this up. That's what I did to make some money. But I also could have done it in a job that, actually paid me commission or paid me for results for making money. And those were the options that I had in front of me, and I chose the business. Because at $40,000 a year, it doesn't matter if you work 30 years, it doesn't matter if you work 100 years, and you have compound interest, you're never going to get FU money. You're going to be getting nowhere and living a life with no vacations and nothing fun to speak of. Your vacations are going to be taking the day off and staying at home. And that is not what I want. I want to do some fun stuff. One of these days, I want to own a Lamborghini. I want to do crazy stuff like that. So, the second thing my mentor told me is, Adam, you millionaires, especially Deca millionaires, they don't save money. They spend all their money. They spend it as fast as they can. As soon as it comes in the door, they get rid of it. They try and figure out how to spend their money. First, this made no sense to me. All I've been taught my whole life is that you save money to get rich. That's the only option. But then he explained it to me. Millionaires, they get that money as fast as they can and they reinvest it. They put it back into something that can make them money. Right now, my mom, I love her so much, but she doesn't know anything about money. And she wants to take $50,000 of her money and put it in a CD at a bank, a certificate of deposit. She has to save it in there for 5 years. She can't touch it. And she's going to earn 3% a year in interest. She is barely keeping up with inflation. And that's her investment strategy. This is the kind of stuff I grew up with as a kid. And there's no reason I didn't make any money for 22 years. This is the freaking reason. Because this is what I thought was money. And it's not. It's not. So even if you take your money and you do the more aggressive route that people like Dave Ramsey teach, take all your money, invest it in a stock market, get a mutual funds, and you're going to earn 7 to 12% interest a year for the next 40 years. Newsflash. You still have to earn that kind of returns for 40 years to have any money. So he said, you need to invest your money and you need to invest it in something that can actually make you money. So I've turned that around and I'm investing it. Right now, I'm working on a software business. I've spent $13,000 on this business and I have not seen a single cent yet back. Hopefully when we launch in a month, it goes incredibly well. But at the end of the month, I'm still going to have to pay another $2,000 to my developer for another month's salary for him. So that's a lot of money gone and invested. But I'll tell you what, I only got to be right once on this kind of project. If this project's wrong, and worst case scenario, let's say it absolutely is worst case scenario, I lose every dollar. I lose all 13 grand, say 20 grand by the time I'm done. I lose 20 grand. But if this software project goes right, and if it goes at all right, this project could make me $500,000 a year in profit to my half of the business. I only own half of the business. So I could turn that 20 grand into $500,000 a year. That's $2 million in 4 years. And that's if we don't grow. He said, you can't invest in stocks. You can't invest in stuff like this that just won't make you real returns. You need to do high risk, high reward stuff. The last lesson that he sat down, my mentors taught me, is that you need to invest, but you need to be willing to take risk. You need to take calculated risk to do that. This software project is a calculated risk. I could lose every dollar. But I have a YouTube channel with 25,000 subscribers who are, a lot of them subscribe to this kind of software already. On top of that, the software I'm bringing to the market is better, and it's a lot easier to use than what's already out there. So while there's a lot of money put out, it's a very calculated risk. The guy who founded Tesla, okay, Elon Musk, this guy followed this principle exactly. So he started his business career, and his first big success was with PayPal. He sold the business, and his portion, he got about $200 million from selling PayPal. So he took that money, sat on it for a year, and then decided it was time to put his money to work. So instead of just sitting there and saving it and putting it in a CD like my mom does, he invests every cent of that $200 million back into 3 new companies: Tesla, SpaceX, and a solar panel company. He is the only guy who has ever lived to have founded $3 billion businesses. But he took, of that $200 million, he invested everything. He had less than $5 million in his bank account by the time those businesses started making him money. So he invested over 97% of his net worth in businesses that at the time were failing. And all 3 of them almost failed multiple times a piece before they actually started making money. So if a guy who's now worth $13 billion, $40 billion, I don't know, is willing to invest all of his money and do it strategically, what do you think you should be doing? Should you be sitting on the sidelines and being too afraid to invest, too afraid to take some risk, too afraid to spend some money? When I bought my first product to sell on Amazon, I took a $1,300 loan from my parents. I had to call them up and say, I know you guys, I've been talking about starting a business for 10 years. I know I have never started a business before. I've tried 3 ventures before this and failed. Social media marketing, website design, Facebook ads, all failed. I said, I'm doing this. Whether you want to support me or not, it will just take me longer to get there without you. And so luckily they helped me, wrote out a $1,300 check to them. I paid $5,000 for that first product and then launched it. And it makes me $3 to $4 grand a month. Still makes me $3 to $4 grand a month. Best month yet for that product was, I think, $6,500 in profit. But I took a calculated risk. It wasn't a crazy risk. It wasn't like going to the lottery, going to the casino and putting down $5,000 on roulette. But I took and put myself out there. So if you're willing to build yourself an income stream, if you're willing to invest your money and spend it, if you have $40,000 in your bank account and you make $40,000 a year, you are never going to get rich. You just can't do it. When I showed up at my business, when I started my job, there was another guy who had worked there for about 2 years. His name's Derek. Had a lot of money saved aside because he had been working there for 2 years, and he lived at home with his parents, saved over 25%, saved like half of the money he made for 2 years at this college degree job. He had a lot of money saved aside. But you know what he was doing with it? Nothing. It earned him $0 in interest every year because it was just sitting in the bank. He had some money in his 401k, which sure is going to average 10% a year, but it doesn't matter how much money he saves. If I have a project that I put $13,000 into and can make me $500,000 a year, he doesn't stand a chance. There's no way he can make more money than me. Even if he had 30-year head start. My parents had a 30-year head start, and look where they're at now. I love them, but so please, if you guys have any more advice that your mentors have taught you, please talk. Let's have a great discussion in the comments. If you want to see how I make money on Amazon, my very first year's results, link to that video will be right here. And if you want to see how I pick winning products on Amazon that make me money, I'll do some product research right in front of you. Link to that video right here. As I really love having a YouTube channel, and I'm so happy to bring you what my mentors have taught me, because the stuff my parents taught me as a kid, it just isn't going to cut it. See you in the next video.